महानता कभी ना गिरने में नहीं बल्कि हर बार गिरकर उठ जाने में है. Namaskar, welcome to Daily PT Pointers, and in this video we are going to cover major headlines of the Hindu, Indian Express, Press Information Bureau and Live Mint. So without wasting any time, let's start today's discussion. And our first headline is related to Nipah virus. And ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि केरला में निपा वायरस के केसेस बढ़ने लगे हैं. नाउ लेट्स नो मोर अबाउट निपा वायरस. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये एक जूनोटिक वायरस है जिसका मतलब है इट इज ट्रांसमिटेड फ्रॉम एनिमल्स टू ह्यूमंस एंड इट कैन आल्सो बी ट्रांसमिटेड थ्रू कंटामिनेटेड फूड और डायरेक्टली बिटवीन पीपल. It was first recognized in 1999 during an outbreak among pig farmers in Malaysia. Our next headline is related to Global Stocktake report. Now let's know more about Global Stocktake. So friends, it is a process for countries and stakeholders to see where they are collectively making progress towards meeting the goals of the Paris Climate Change Agreement and where they are not. The report summarizes 17 key findings from technical deliberations in 2022 and 2023 on the implementation status of Paris Agreement on climate change and its long-term goals based on the best scientific information. The report highlighted that the world is not on track to achieve Paris Agreement targets and governments need to support ways to transition their economies away from fossil fuel businesses and that states and communities must strengthen efforts and access to climate finance in developing countries needed to be enhanced. And do you know, friends, the stock take takes place every 5 years with the first ever stock take scheduled to conclude at the UN Climate Change Conference at the end of this year. Our next headline is related to Hindi Diwas, which is being celebrated across the country today. And it was on this day in 1949 that Constituent Assembly adopted Hindi in Devanagari script as the official language of the country after a long and animated debate. Part 17 of the Constitution, comprising Article 343 to 351, deals with the subject, and Article 343, Subclause 1, declares the official language of the Union shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. And do you know, friends, it is one of the 22 scheduled languages of the Republic of India. Our next headline is related to C-295 transport aircraft. And ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently India received first C-295 aircraft which has carrying capacity of 9 tons and it can carry up to 71 troops or 50 paratroopers, airdrop cargo, and it can be used for medical evacuation and it can take off and land on short and unpaved runways. Our next headline is related to sickle cell disease, which is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders that affect hemoglobin, which is a protein that carries oxygen. And do you know, friends, government has publicizing its campaign to eradicate sickle cell disease in India by 2047. Now, recently, President of India launched Ayushman Bhav Health Campaign, which is a comprehensive nationwide healthcare initiative of the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and it aims to provide saturation coverage of healthcare services reaching every village and town in the country. Our next headline is related to Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, which is a tax proposed by the European Union on certain products, and it will enter into force in its transitional phase as of 1st October 2023, and it will initially apply to imports of certain goods whose production is carbon intensive and at most significant risk of carbon leakage. And the initial list of products includes cement, iron, steel, aluminium, fertilizers, electricity and hydrogen. European Union aims to implement this measure as part of its ambitious environmental and climate agenda. Our next headline is related to 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 project, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently cabinet approved phase 3 of the 𝐃𝐚𝐢𝐥𝐲 project with budget outlay of more than 7,000 crore. And do you know, friends, E-Courts project began in 2007 as centrally sponsored scheme that is part of National E-Governance Plan, and Supreme Court is responsible for the policy planning, strategic direction and implementation, while Department of Justice provides the funding. The project is aimed at improving access to justice using technology. Our next headline is related to Operation Polo, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently 75th anniversary of Operation Polo was observed. Now let's know more about Operation Polo. So friends, first Home Minister of India Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, known as Iron Man of India, initiated Operation Polo to merge the Hyderabad state into Indian Union in 1948. Our next headline is related to Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, and ये न्यूज में भी इसलिए है क्योंकि recently government approved the extension of Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana for release of 75 lakh LPG connections over 3 years. Now let's know more about Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. तो फ्रेंड्स, ये स्टार्ट हुई थी 2016 में with an objective to provide clean cooking fuel to poor households across the country, and under it, a deposit-free LPG connection is provided to adult women from poor households, and the beneficiaries are identified either from socio-economic caste census list or from 7 other identified categories such as scheduled caste households, scheduled tribes households, most backward classes, beneficiaries of PMUY Yojana Gramin, beneficiaries of Antodaya Ann Yojana, forest dwellers, resident of islands, river islands, tea garden and ex-tea garden workers, or poor households not covered under the above categories. Our next headline is related to International Film Festival of India, which is scheduled to take place in Goa in November. And do you know, friends, it is the only film festival in South Asia that is accredited by International Federation of Film Producers Association in competitive features films category. This annual film festival brings the biggest stalwarts of cinema from across India and the world under one roof, while also providing a platform to young talent to showcase their craft to an international audience, thus celebrating the cohesive energy and spirit of art, films, and culture. It is jointly organized each year by the National Film Development Corporation, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and the Entertainment Society of Goa. Our next headline is related to Skill India Digital, जो कि recently launch किया गया है Union Minister for Education and Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. ये एक comprehensive digital platform है which is aimed at synergizing and transforming the skills, education, employment, and entrepreneurship landscape of India. Our next and last headline is related to Global Biofuel Alliance, which is an initiative by India as G20 chair. It aims to expedite the global uptake of biofuels through facilitating technology advancements, intensifying utilization of sustainable biofuels, shaping robust standard setting and certification through the participation of a wide spectrum of stakeholders. So with this, let's conclude our today's discussion. Thanks for listening, and for regular updates, you can follow us on various social media platforms.